here's the glamour and the reality of all this stuff. It's just before 6 AM on a Monday morning, and it's not actually raining cats and dogs, but I thought we'd show you how we go about. So we meet, that's Dan, here's somewhere you help me look drive, Dan over there, the one that's dressed like a teenager. Neil's behind the camera. There's another bloke who's going to meet us later on called James, who's in a fourth car, but we've got all three cars, and now we'll just sort of spend 20 minutes shimmying around, getting covered in mud and water because I live in the sticks, and then we'll get on the road. I looked at the map last night. To get from my house to Anglesey, you either go up a motorway and across a motorway, or you go straight through the middle of Wales and really enjoy the roads and get some traffic on the way. We've got a GT3, a V12 Vantage S, and a C63 Black Series. You can't go on the motorway, can you? I'll let you into a couple of secrets here, okay? There are very few rules in what we do, but there are two rules. First is that who drives what is decided by a strict democracy, and the route we take, we go as a team, okay? So, boys, I'm driving the Aston, you boys can drive with you want, and I'll see you in Anglesey.
The drive through Wales is always good. Traffic is easily dealt with, and watching the dawn with an Aston V12 burble behind your left ear is even better. We stop and change cars, and we argue a bit because Neil is rude about the Aston and therefore wrong about the Aston, and then we reach the brilliant Anglesey circuit, where the sheep are being blown off their feet and it's 5 degrees, ideal for cut tyres. It's blowing a 50-mile-an-hour gale, but the track is temporarily dry, so we bolt a GoPro on quickly and grab a lap time on each. The Aston first, as Dan tries not to go the way of the upended sheep. We have all electronics off and the dampers set to track mode. Torque is immense from the V12 and traction so marginal that you only need second gear once on the lap. Balance is good with not too much understeer. The gear shift is clean, doesn't disrupt the car under hard braking, and the brakes are very powerful with good pedal feel, but the car never feels that aggressive or agile. Mid-corner grip is okay, nothing more, but it's enjoyable and fun. Really, you spend most of the lap just managing potential oversteer. The Black is a similar story. Its Dunlops are even less keen to reach operating temperature than the Aston's sticky Pirellis. There's more understeer, meaning minimum corner speed is lower, and the exit phase is all oversteer avoidance. ESP is off and the dampers are set to firm. This is the only car with steel brakes, but they work well and the mass is pretty well contained. But for all its specialness, the Black performs like a very, very well sorted C-Class Merc. The GT3 is a pure sports car. It's a measure of how much faster the Porsche is that I didn't feel like I got close to its potential lap time. The front Michelins didn't even get warm, so the front pushed all lap. Traction was easily the best of the three, and I was cautious with the most powerful brakes in this test. For just going fast, this is the best road car gearbox ever. The shifts are crazy fast, unlike my driving, and even then the Porsche was 2.4 seconds faster than the Aston.
.138.1, but it's wind assisted, so we have to add a couple of seconds.
Then it rained, so we were forced to go and drive sideways, and this was not a shame.
Oh, it's slippery. It's slippery, and I've got Pirelli P0 Corsas, it's cold, and for some reason this little baby Aston Martin weighs 235 kilograms more than the Porsche. It's also got 457 foot-pounds of torque, which is a massive amount for two wheels in these conditions. You'll see what the corollary of all that torque and this surface is about now. Ready? Second gear. Oh, there she goes. There she goes. There she goes. I mean, it's got balance to spare. Listen to that noise. It's just wonderful. The gearbox feels completely antiquated after the Porsches, but you know what? I think it's quite appealing in some respects.
strange, I've started to feel slightly nostalgic for these automated manual shifters. It's so much slower than the Porsches, but as long as you give it some time, it's actually rather good fun. I'd far rather this car was a manual though, because the engine is sublime. The torque, just exceptional. I like the balance as well. There's a little bit of understeer in the dry, not too much, you can overcome it whenever you want to. In the wet, of course, it's just literally a tweak away like that. Brakes, ceramics, they're damn good. I like the pedal feel as well. In fact, at slower medium speeds on the road, as I've said, I prefer them to the Porsches at times. But I have to say, this car really is a weapon. It's a little bit soft. I've got the dampers in soft mode because it's wet, but even in the hard mode, there's a bit of roll. The car just feels lazier. When you see the lap time, yeah, I mean, the Porsche does destroy it, but it will do that all day long. And I think this car is just fantastic fun, I really do. And the noise, wow, the noise. The only question is, does it have to have these paddles? I suppose it does, because that's what buyers want these days, isn't it? Anyhow, third gear, what, 80 miles an hour, and you just wind the lock on. It's a weapon, it's a weapon. Yes, and welcome to the C63 AMG Black Series on cold Dunlop semi-slick track day tyres at Anglesey when it's about 6 degrees. Now you'll notice that I'm struggling for grip. That's because it's wet and damp, and some of the photographs from outside the car are when it's dry and some when it's wet. It's one of those January days in the UK, so I apologise for the lack of continuity. But what does happen in these conditions is that an inherent balance of a car comes to light, doesn't it? Because it's low grip and you learn stuff. So let's just do a lap or so in this wonderful machine and try and understand what it's about. Okay, 517 horsepower from this M156 version and very little traction at the moment, grip from the sticky Dunlops. Is this car right for this test? I think it is because of its intended use and its character, but it does feel quite big compared to the other two. The engine, wow, we all know about this engine. Above 6, it just goes a little bit harder than the standard C63, in fact, quite a bit harder. Brakes, the only car here on steel rotors. You know what, they work really well in this weather, and I like the pedal feel, I think it's great. The car has a lovely lazy response, long wheelbase, it doesn't feel too snappy. That's a problem because you just get too comfortable with big slides and angles, maybe not the quickest way around the track. I mean, that's just silly. That's just gratuitous there, I didn't mean that to happen. We'll try and not drift at the next corner. Okay, let's pitch it in. Yeah, oh, we managed it, But get the noise. Just a lovely, lovely thing. Oh, lordy. Look, stop doing that. Go straight. Just go straight. I think it's a super, super car. Engine-wise, right up there with the other two. Gearbox-wise, the gearbox is just a bit too slow now. This MCT transmission, I think, is outclassed. And you have to anticipate when the limiter comes. So you're shifting when the needle's on about 6.2 to get the limiter at just gone 7. But it stops well, and once you get a little bit of temperature into the tyres, it will kind of, well, start to grip a bit, he says. Well, it's not there, is it? Oh, look. Come on for noise. And we know that on a dry track this thing performs pretty well because this is the same car we came here in nearly 2 years ago, and it's done 10,000 miles. And that's testament to just how strong this thing is because it feels like a tank. And I don't think it is Trigger's Broom. I think it's the same engine, the same gearbox, the same running gear. Oh, there he goes again. No, wonderful, wonderful thing. I love the specialness of the cabin. I love the big Recaro seat. I love the steering wheel, like the driving position. It's just a wicked thing to be in. I could do without the spoilers, probably. In terms of track performance, yeah, it's the least capable of the three, but then on track, this car remains
absolutely brilliant fun. Absolutely brilliant fun. 991 GT3 people on a slippery track. What kind of thing wet dreams are made of. So 475 horsepower, 1430 kilograms, lighter than the Aston Martin, lighter than the Mercedes by a considerable margin, and this engine that revs to, well, 9,000 RPM. It's just a weapon. I have to say, these Michelins don't like the really, really wet. They get that awful sort of grabby sensation as they try and find grip. Chassis otherwise, it's a peach, a real peach. It'll do all sorts of angles. It has the most dry grip, it has the most wet grip. Can you hear what's going on behind me? That engine, it's all about that engine. Talk about taking the dialogue away from the PDK transmission, because all you can do is be consumed by that noise. It's extraordinary, and it just keeps pulling. It just keeps pulling. Lordy, lordy, what a car. Okay, brakes, these are ceramics, optional ceramics on this. It's a Club Sport model. They are superb when you get them up to temperature. The best of the bunch, I have to say, the best of the bunch. There she goes again. Stop doing that. Now, let's talk about the transmission, because it is a masterpiece. I'm sorry, my personal choice wouldn't be to have a PDK or paddles, but if you're going to have paddles, you might as well do them well. And I have to say, it's just so fast. Everything else in the test just feels completely pedestrian. The Aston Martin just feels like it's 3 generations old compared to this. And I suppose the way this engine revs, and with these close stack gear ratios, I'm not sure you'd get quite the same sensation, quite the same aggression if I was stirring a stick, but I do miss it. I have to say, I miss it. It's got balance, it's got speed, it's got emotion, it's got the lot. It's a great car. It's a great, great car. As for the 4-wheel steering, do you know what? The best thing I can say about it is I'm not even aware that it's doing anything. I know that when I get slip angle, it cuts back to being dead straight, but when I'm not doing that, I'm just not aware it's there. I just seem to find that I can turn when I want to turn and come out of a corner the way I want to come out of a corner. It's mighty, mighty clever. There, that's the defining point. 8.8, 8.9, pull a paddle, hear the noise. If you own one of these things, I'm jealous. What's the RS going to be like?
And that was the track, and here are the cars in more detail. The Aston is a heavily revised version of the lovely V12 Vantage. Controversially, it comes only as a 7-speed paddle shifter, but that does weigh 25 kilograms less than the old 6-speed manual. Power is now 573 with a monster 457 foot-pounds of torque. Carbon ceramic brakes are standard, but the obligatory carbon bucket seats are not. It's the most expensive car here at $138,000 or $164,000 as tested, but it's also the most beautiful, despite the silly paint job. The Merc is also $138,000, but that includes many, many toys. The base price is only, ho ho ho, $118,000. For that you get Darth Vader on 4 wheels. A 517 horsepower version of the AMG atmospheric V8, massive bodywork alterations, a 2-seat cabin with bucket seats, and a much, much more impressive chassis than any other AMG product. You'll be saying, how much? But when you see one in the flesh, you'll realise why. This thing drips with presence. So does the GT3. It's by far and away the cheapest car here, just, and yes I am joking, $100,000 as standard. $114,000 as tested with ceramic brakes and carbon buckets. Power is the lowest here too, 475 with just 324 foot-pounds of torque. Michelin's latest Pilot Sport Cup 2 tyre should give it an advantage, as might the new super-fast PDK gearbox. It's not as pretty as the Aston or as butch as the Merc, but no one mistakes it for a normal 911.
The Aston's a very good example of why these really are street cars and not track cars. It's got modes here. It's got a damper mode, and it's got a sport mode, and it's got all sort of stuff that points towards it being a track car. But you know what, in essence it isn't. There's no massive roll cage behind me. It's a good thing too, because with the dampers left soft, this is a lovely, lovely road car. Start with the chassis. Damping's much more supple than I remember from the old V12 Vantage manual. I suspect they've just gone for some more expensive dampers, maybe even taken a bit of spring rate out of it. I don't know, maybe they've added spring rate and I'm wrong there. But to me, the car feels more supple on the road. It's nice. It's got enough traction, and even though you've got that massive amount of torque from the V12, you can clog your foot down and enjoy it. The road's wet today, so what I tend to do is just nudge up a gear and then just hold the throttle down, and you use the higher gear as a sort of form of traction control. Track's nice and straight, doesn't hit too much crown on the road. The steering is exceptional. Do you know what? I think this thing wallops the GT3 steering, which is actually quite pleasant for an electric system. This, I feel connected, and I like the speed of it. Just off centre, I've got enough room to give myself options on the road when it's wet like this. So, an impressive road car. NVH is good as well. The GT3 is quite a noisy car on the road, as is C63. This one, it's not too bad actually. I won't tell you how fast I'm going, but let's just say it's not too noisy. I drove this for 3 hours yesterday and felt quite relaxed. The cabin, driving position, great. View out, great. Sensation of being in something special, great, because that V12 makes a gorgeous noise, but it's old. The Aston is now an old car. It's the old instruments that go backwards and forwards. I can't really see them, but I'm not too worried about that. Does it still feel special? Yes, it does. Driving on the road places far fewer demands on this automated manual transmission as well. I think it's very pleasant to use. It's not as immediate as the Porsche. I mean, there's so much about this car that can't compete with the Porsche on paper and sort of as an individual component. But you know what, when you ball them all together, I'm not sure how much I'm losing. This is a smooth shifting transmission. When you want to go fast and shift fast in sport mode, bang, it cracks through. Feels fast enough to me. I'll just run you through those modes quickly, by the way. I've got a sport mode, that gives me a faster shift, a more aggressive throttle map, and also gives me a bit more exhaust noise. Come on, it's pretty special, isn't it? I've got the damper mode, which can go hard or soft, depending whether I'm on the track or the road. And I've got DSC, which gives me a lot of intervention, which I've got on now, stops me being a wally. I've got a sort of track mode, which allows me more slip, and if I hold it down for a load of seconds and say wibble wibble 7 times, it turns off completely, and that allows us to do all the yobbery on the circuit. Brakes, now we're talking. Okay, these, as carbon ceramics, have one of the nicest initial pedal movements that I've experienced. Have I covered everything there? So we've done engine noise, we've done the gearbox, we've done the brakes, we've done the way it rides on the road, the way it makes me feel. I think we've covered that off, and I hope by now that you realise that I think this is a lovely, lovely road car. If I had to drive one of these to the south of France, the Aston is right up there. Would I prefer it if it had a manual transmission as opposed to these paddles? Yes, I would, but then I'm predictable and old-fashioned. So if the Aston is ostensibly a street car that can go quite fast on a circuit, what does that make that enormous black Mercedes-Benz with the silly wings? I've been familiar with the C63 Black Series for over 2 years now, but each time I come and sit in it, I'm amazed at how many compromises and contradictions it appears to offer, and yet how they all roll together to create this really, really enjoyable car. So first up, from the outside, it looks like it's trying to kill you. It really does look like a weapon of war. When you get in it, there's a fixed bucket seat, an aggressive steering wheel. When you start it up, the engine just goes, "Arr!" When you drive away,
on a cold, wet day, the rear Dunlops genuinely can't cope with more than about 1/10 of throttle before the traction control light's flashing on. And you think to yourself, this is unmanageable. What were AMG thinking? And then you get up a bit of speed on the road and you realise that of the 3 cars here, it has the nicest damping. It feels the most stable. And then the tyres get a bit of temperature in them, just a little bit, and they start to work. And before you know it, you're just strolling along. And the car has a lovely rhythm. It's so composed, it doesn't seem to be deflected too much. It doesn't follow the camber of the road like you'd expect of a car that's wearing quite aggressive cambers itself. It's a great road car, truly great road car. Just like the Aston, being on the road to me means that the slightly slower gearbox response isn't as much of a problem. I don't expect so much of it. The engine's torque is just exceptional. It says it has the same torque figure as the Aston, but to me it feels stronger low down. I'm not sure that should be the case. The whole thing just feels special to me as well. We've got a C63 507 wagon with us, which is a very special car, but this is a whole new world compared to that. Just makes you smile, doesn't it? Oh God, when you push. The difference a couple of degrees of temperature makes to the tyres as well. The moment the front just starts to work, you can really cover ground, even in the damp. What don't I like about the Black Series? Well, I do without the silly wing kit, that's too much for me. And I'd probably have the rear seats fitted, because then that would be an interesting car, wouldn't it? A proper 4-seater that offers all this performance and this specialness, and you can throw the kids in the back. That's an appealing prospect. But as it is, this is a great car. Full of excitement, full of character, mind-blowing performance really, and this strange on-road compliance that you just don't expect. This rides much better than the 507 estate car because it's got expensive suspension on it. But I suppose the C63 does have one slight problem. As spec, this car is £138,000, and on the road, you have to wonder whether there might be another car from Stuttgart that offers a bit more for less money. From the first moment I drove a GT3 last summer, I wanted to know what it was like to drive on a bumpy British road, because to me that's what matters. Anyone can make a car work on a smooth circuit. What's it like on a bumpy road? Well, the immediate answer is pretty damn good. Start with the chassis, 4-wheel steering. Good Lord. It can't be long until they fit this to all Carreras. It genuinely makes the car feel more agile than a normal steering system. I don't know why it is. Well, we know why it is. It effectively shortens the wheelbase of the car, doesn't it? But you turn and the car just feels like you can put it so much more accurately on the road. Ride comfort. This is the firmest of the 3 cars, but it's got a lovely, luxurious damping quality to it. So even though we are moving about a bit more, each movement's really controlled and the car just feels pinned onto the road surface. I'm on the softest damper mode, but yes, still the firmest car here. Is it following cambers too much? It sniffs them out a bit more than the other 2, but again, just feels aggressive and alive, much more so than the other 2. Brakes are immense. Top of the pedal feel perhaps not quite as pleasant as the Aston. It's the personality of the GT3 that gets you though. This is the car that you get in even on the street and you just grow horns. You just want to get up it because, we'll come to it, that engine, there we go. That is just extraordinary. If it feels extraordinary on a circuit, on the road, good Lord. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. The GT3 does, engine-wise, operate on a completely different level to the others. Just feels like you got a race powertrain on the road. Listen to this. It is immense, absolutely immense. And that gear shift. Yes, I prefer sticks, but I'm not sure you could actually enjoy this engine with a manual gearbox the way you can with these paddles because it's so much going on between 8 and 9.
Let's talk about these Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tyres as well. Wow, in these conditions, not too much standing water but a damp road, they are finding grip that the other two can't even come close to. And because it's a Porsche rear engine, traction wise, I can just come wide open out of second gear turns. The Merc and the Aston just can't get close to it. They're all over the place. There is just one downside to this remarkable direct fuel injection engine that revs to 9,000 RPM, and that is that you do your gearing calculation, the opportunities to really extend it on the road in second and third gear, well, I don't want to do the numbers, but if you're using it, everything in third, well, you're going to be in trouble at some point. It's just almost too fast. It's on the road that you really notice the difference in personality. The other two, they're sporting GT cars. This is a proper sports car. Am I going to shut up and drive it? It's incredible!
The big surprise for me is how usable the Vantage is. The optional B&O Hi-Fi is ace. The Bluetooth phone is the best here. The door bins are in the perfect position. It's old, but it just works. And on the road, it's a hot rod. You drive to the torque and always try to sit on the edge of traction. You physically sit way back in the car too, almost over the axle as it twitches and bucks. The more you drive it, the more you like it. Can you really justify the Merc's price? Well, used values are pretty good, and it looks the part. Interestingly, we had a C63 507 as a camera hack, and back-to-back the two cars are unrecognisable. The black's chassis is way more supple and way more enjoyable. For some people, the ordinary Merc cabin will be a bonus, it's so easy and intuitive. Others will think it's just too boring. The PDK argument will rage for a while yet, but just consider this. With that engine and those gear ratios, shifting yourself might just be too involved for road use. For now, you have to choose engine or gearbox. And this DFI motor is so special, I could easily live with the paddles, because they are still the best paddles we've ever tried. So how the hell do you call a winner? You grab keys, scarper and drive 4 hours cross-country back to base. And then you accept that for 3 days you've really been looking for things that will stop the GT3 winning this test. And there just aren't many. That doesn't mean the Aston and the C63 are anything other than brilliant, just that the GT3 is one of those rare talents that shines even brighter. For the record, the Black Series is a joy, and the V12 Vantage S is the best Aston I've driven by miles. So ask me which is the best car, and I'll say GT3. No contest. Ask me which I'd like for a calendar year, and, well, I'll pause for a while and remember that lovely AMG damping and the sense of feeling so utterly joyful in the Aston. Both great cars, but I'd still take the Porsche.
Welsh cakes, the cornerstone of any nutritious road test food.